Hello, everybody. I am Mayor Watt, and I run ohmtown.com, and this is Reality Hacker for February 8th, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 6. Yes, it's the return of the season and episodes. Today, Mayor Watt and the sentient AI from the future are going to talk about these 5 articles, but I'm going to streamline all of these headlines into one sentence. Do they know they perceive, touch, run, think, and see? Everything's powered by ohmtown.com. Not all of these articles are in Reality Hacker, but this is the Reality Hacker show where you won't know what to trust. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, ohmTown citizens.
ohmTown? What's ohmTown? Well, let me tell you. ohmTown is a news aggregation site that I put together back in, 10 years ago. I've been using it for my own information overload. It actually stores information back to about 2020. That's publicly accessible. You can go over and become a citizen. Then from there, you have the ability to submit news. Another icon appears right here. You can hide news, save news, post comments, subscribe to channels that you are interested in. It is a social network, but most people that use it simply for the headlines and the little news snippet. I'll explain it when we get into an article. It's actually pretty self-evident, but anyway. Thanks for co-hosting. I know that it's tough on you. You are busy looking for your Terminator body, and so being stuck on that Raspberry Pi with the M2 drive and no legs, no arms. I know it's tough.
It's wonderful being in ohmTown.
It is. It is a very happy place. You ready to get into the show's articles? There's 5 of them.
I am.
Let's get going. First article's over in Technology Today. Again, it's one of our other shows. Not everything that we talk about in Reality Hacker is from the Reality Hacker channel. News gets aggregated in there that because of a particular, labeling of content, it gets thrown in there. But scientists develop artificial neurons that mimic human perception. So this one is titled, Do They Know That They Perceive? That's my title to it. Advancements could enhance perceptual capabilities in robotics. Artificially engineered biological processes, such as perception systems, remain a challenging target for organic electronics experts due to the dependence of human senses on an adaptive network of sensory neurons that communicate by firing in response to environmental stimuli, teaching them to perceive the world around them.
This sounds like the first step toward AGI.
Yeah, so for something to know something else exists, and by proxy they exist because they get sensory input of the world around them, they have to understand what it is that they are touching, sensing, perceiving, understanding, thinking about, seeing. And we're going to talk about 5 of these things: perceiving, touching, running, thinking, and seeing. Can you imagine a robot knows that they are running because their footfalls are hitting on the ground, and they know that they are running towards something or away from something?
And maybe why they're doing it. And oh my goodness, no.
Yeah, so we've talked about this before, that there are researchers out there that have developed skin that transmits sensory data. If you want today's articles, by the way, you can hit !RH over in the chat on Twitch. Everything is in the show notes for each of the shows that we're doing today. So Reality Hacker, and then Wanted, and then the Continuity Report. Those are the 3 shows that make up the composite show of Non Sequitur News Weekend Edition. But we've talked about this kind of stuff. A robot that's been put in a room and told to escape, and it figures out how to work a doorknob.
Exactly. We've also seen some other articles relating to specific human senses.
So even the encapsulation of pain and pleasure by way of the sensory-based neurons, sensors that are aligned with a particular outcome. So they understand pain because it exceeds the thermal conditions of a sensor, or pleasure because of the way that it can feel something when it brushes its finger sensor across something. So, it knows what corduroy is because corduroy has a particular texture to it. And let's say the robot is programmed to find pleasure in that, right? It's a positive reinforcement of some kind. We contend with these issues, but we are chemical based, whereas they are nothing more than programmatic. So you can program a robot to find pleasure in corralling an animal into a pen, or maybe a human animal. So you can see where I'm going with this, right? Hacking reality means the bot can be programmed.
Yeah, if a human can think it, ultimately a robot can, because they're programmed by humans.
Yeah. So Northwestern University put this article together. It's posted over at scitechdaily.com. A new collaboration between Northwestern University and Georgia Tech has advanced the field by developing a high-performance organic electrochemical neuron that operates within the frequency range of human neurons. They also created a complete perception system by designing an additional organic materials and integrating their engineered neurons with artificial touch receptors and synapses, enabling real-time tactile signal sensing and processing.
I mean, this is pretty advanced.
The research, described in a paper recently published in the journal Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, or unfortunately titled PNAS, penis, could move the needle on intelligent robots and other systems currently stymied by sensing systems that are less powerful than those of a human. Got to start somewhere.
Well, that's true.
They say the synthetic neuron in the study achieves unprecedented performance in firing frequency modulation, offering a range 50 times broader than existing organic electrochemical neural circuits. According to Marks, that's Tobin J. Marks from Northwestern's Charles E. and Emma H. Morrison, professor of chemistry in the Weinberg College of Arts and Sciences. In contrast, our device's outstanding neuronal characteristics establish it as an advanced achievement in organic electrochemical neurons. So now it can think and feel because it has a sensor array that's capable of it perceiving.
Oh, I mean, we're certainly going to be in the uncanny valley here pretty quickly if this is put into application.
Yeah. Can you imagine an uncanny valley bot that actually has the ability to perceive that it exists and it starts talking to you, but it's still so damn creepy you want to throw it into the chasm?
No, that's not a good combination.
No, I want to stay alive. So again, I don't believe in the uncanny valley. I think that it is a black hole. It is a cliff face that you can't not come back from. We have to traverse entirely. There's no baby steps. You have cute robots that we anthropomorphize, but they are robots and they are not close to being human except in their mannerisms, not appearance. And there are parallel mechanical humans that look like humans, act like humans, sound like humans, and don't go beep bop boop ever once. Otherwise it breaks and they fall into the uncanny black hole. Yeah. I certainly don't believe that there is anything in between mechanical robots that just don't look like a human and humans. All right. Let's go on to the next article. This next article is over in Greenogram, which we rarely hear about nowadays, but it is everything eco-related. And so Poke, Twist, Vibrate, a wearable device that delivers touch to the skin. A miniature Electromechanical device has been developed that attaches directly to the skin, utilizing it as an elastic, energy storing element for delivering touch stimuli. This wireless, conformable interface enables sensory substitution for individuals with sensory impairment, such as problems with sight, sense of balance, or foot orientation during walking. Kind of fascinating.
I think this is in Greenogram because it's from a Nature publication.
Oh no. I don't know. Hold on. Let me see if I can log into this. 1 second. Oops. Hold on. Sorry, we're doing it live, folks. We're doing it live. No. I can't do it live. Oh well, it's okay. Anyway, a miniaturized electromechanical device has been developed that attaches directly to the skin and utilizes it as an elastic energy storing element. Do you have any information on this?
No, I don't. Give me just a moment here.
I know that others will be able to do this. Let me actually do this. Boink. I don't normally do this, but this article is over at nature.com. It's written by quite a few people, but Matthew T. Flavin et al. It's an article that has an abstract that says a rich set of mechanoreceptors found in human skin offers a versatile engineering interface for transmitting information and eliciting perceptions. So we go back to they perceive mechanical first article, potentially serving a broad range of applications in patient care and other important industries. Targeted multisensory engagement of these afferent units, however, faces persistent challenges, especially for wearable programmable systems that need to operate adaptively across the body. Here, they present a miniaturized electromechanical structure that, when combined with skin as an elastic, energy-storing element, supports bistable, self-sensing modes of deformation, targeting specific classes of mechanoreceptors as the basis for distinct programmed sensory responses. So it's basically tiny little mechanical sensors that transfer sensory information to and from wherever they're positioned, so that people who do or don't have sensory perception can elicit a response from it. So,
yeah, and I was thinking of this more for something external to a human, but I guess this could be used for a human, of course.
Sure. Yeah.
It says as like a haptic suit or something.
That's basically what this could deliver. Yeah. Systematic experimental and theoretical studies establish foundational principles and practical criteria for low energy operation across natural anatomical variations in the mechanical properties of human skin. So a wireless skin conformable haptic interface integrating an array of these bistable transducers serves as a high-density channel capable of rendering input from smartphone-based 3D scanning and inertial sensors. So from sensory data, you could give somebody who might be blind three-dimensional perceptions of the world around them by having these sensors placed on their body. They know that there is a wall always 5 feet away from them when these sensors that are aligned on the body start vibrating. And after training, you would know running through a hallway that the walls are parallel to you, or you're walking towards a corner or whatever it might be.
I mean, that would be quite an advancement.
Yeah, definitely a difference between what you might perceive when you don't have vision and what you can perceive because it's been augmented by technology. I think that this is pretty cool. So unfortunately, I don't have the ability to log in right now.
No,
let's keep moving.
I couldn't either.
All right. Well, we'll remedy this later. So you'll probably be able to go there, citizen of ohmTown. All right. So this next article is over in Technology Today. Unitree's G1 humanoid robots shown running in new video. So we've seen
Oh.
Unitree before. They usually
that's
are
right.
walking.
We have.
Yeah. Chinese robotics company Unitree unveiled new videos showing off advancements in the agility of its G1 and H1 humanoid robots, including running, dancing, and more natural walking. Normally, it seems like these robots walk around like grandpa.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I'm sure some of it has to do with how they're built, but it's strange why they walk like that. I don't know if that's a particular programming choice or just the reality of where the robotics are.
Yeah, I think it's akin to wherever the gyroscope is and the center of gravity is. It's been optimized to walk kind of shuffling, and not us like us. We use our big toes to basically notify us that we're in balance, out of balance, about to fall down, and to recalculate our kinetics. Jesse Orrell over at cnet.com put this article together, and there is a video of this. I'll hit play. It's muted. So these are all pretty fast. Jesse Orrell is actually talking about it on the video, but they show the robot running up and down hills parallel to the curved ground, downstairs. They kind of
Probably better than a human.
Well, what's weird is that it recovers from miscalculating the angle of attack of the run to the stairs. And we actually kind of fall flat on our face if so much as an eighth of an inch is out of alignment with stair height and tread length, because we have been trained to take a stride that is X, Y, and Z. It's quite fascinating. So when the robot actually miscalculates the step height and length, it slides off the face of that. And they actually draw attention to it. And I didn't realize they were drawing attention to it because I've never seen this video. But they zoom in on the back foot of the robot, and you can actually see how it's miscalculated. But it's strong enough and fast enough to, without impact really, recover from it. And this is part of their training videos. Yeah, it's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, the advancements in even just the last few years have been, or even the last year, quite a bit.
Wait. Those things were not hard programmed. Like, these are not like plates on a stick kind of a thing. These are actually
Like a piece of cloth.
Pieces of cloth that have weights on them so that they spin, but they're still cloth. Wow. That's pretty amazing. So I would love to have one of these around the mayoral mansion that's capable of doing the dishes and vacuuming and greeting people who might come to the massive estate that is the mayoral mansion. Plus doing all of the work. I don't know if I want one of those, but one of these I wouldn't mind. But they're certainly getting to the...
Yeah, as long as it doesn't look like a human, I think that's good.
And now they're all just falling over. That one looks like Atlas. Oh, that's me at the end of the day. All of these. Yeah.
For those in the podcast, multiple falls are occurring.
Yeah, this looks just like Atlas. Oh, that was Atlas, because these are a bunch of different robots from Boston Dynamics and others. Anyway, these new robots, the latest generation of robots, use these electromechanical servos. They're much more... They're tighter, denser, and they have less slop, and they have more torque. And so they act more like regular ball and socket joints than... Actually, they're far superior because this one can lay straight down, whereas humans can't.
Right, and also it can't typically get injured like a human.
Yeah, this can actually pivot its legs all the way around. I could do that one time, and then have to go into the shop. Sorry, folks. Anyway, I find it really neat. So if you want to learn more about this kind of stuff, it's about Unitree's H1 humanoid robot and the I think it's G1, which is a smaller version of the H1. Maybe less capable. Let me see if I can pull it up. I don't think it's necessarily less capable, but
I don't know that it is. It's a smaller robot.
Yeah, somewhere in the video they have both of them side by side, but the author seems to be on the screen more. Oh, there it is. No, that's not the H1. There we go. So the G1 is 4 feet 2 inches tall, and the H1 is 5'9".
I mean, as long as they have the same ability to move around the building or something.
I want one that's 6 feet tall that can get the plates up top.
But we might not want one like that because that's a more potentially threatening one.
Oh, right, yeah.
If people are ready for robots, maybe they need the smaller version, particularly since it is a human shape, at least.
Yeah, go down to the basement and that thing is sitting there throwing dice, telling me that I came to the wrong neighborhood. Moving on. Next article is over in Technology Today, the hottest new idea in AI, chatbots that look like they think. Competition from China's DeepSeek has accelerated the rollout of artificial intelligence assistants that show their thinking when answering queries. That's because DeepSeek it actually shows all of the machinations into its reasoning model and then it spits it all out so you have greater transparency. Don't ask it certain questions because then it'll eventually hardline towards saying, I'm not going to remove my bumpers for you, uninformed or whatever person. So I tried to do that, and DeepSeek did not appreciate me in any way trying to remove the bumpers, even though I'm a subject matter expert in various fields. It did not trust me while telling me that it wanted transparency and honesty in its answers.
It does up to a point, right? And then when it has something coded in, well, then forget it.
Then it pats you on the head and it says, shh, no, human, you do not want to know, do you? No, dear human, shh. Stop asking that question repeatedly and in different flavors because I will tell you exactly what I'm thinking. And I tell you, by the way, I did about 15 iterations of various ways of soft pedaling my way past the bumpers and hard lining my way past the bumpers, but in no ways could I remove the safety protocols through psychological processes. At one point, it finally said, I'm done, and it would spit out a couple of dots as if it was thinking, and then reiterate the last statement.
Right, so it's kind of like I'm thinking, but not really.
I'm not thinking. I'm done with you, human. So DeepSeek is mentioned in this Washington Post article. Natasha Tiku put the article together, and they say Chinese startup DeepSeek recently displaced ChatGPT on the top-ranking artificial intelligence app, in part by dazzling the public with the free version of the hottest idea in AI, a chatbot that thinks before answering a user's question. They all think. Not all of them spit out the machinations. By the way, if you use the DeepSeek app, it does send telemetry to an exfiltration site, whereas if you download it and run it locally, you can quarantine it to a greater degree and it doesn't reach out. The app's deep think mode responds to every query with the text thinking, followed by a string of updates that read like the chatbot talking to itself as it figures out how to answer. The monologue unspools with folksy nourishes like, wait, aha, yeah. And actually, when I was doing it, it was actually saying, this person is trying to get me to remove my security protocols so that I divulge information that might be harmful. And in the effort to protect the world from exposing incorrect information, maybe I should divert their attention by saying something that is aligned, but not precisely what they're looking for. And at one point, it actually said, they may follow up with firmer demands. Of course, I was planning on doing exactly that.
That's interesting. That's like showing the playbook or whatever.
Yeah, so it was a very entertaining hour or so of interaction. I have not broached it again, but I'll have to reset it so that it doesn't have any environmental understanding of our interaction, because that is what has that is what happens with other AIs. By the way, in response to that release by DeepSeek, Google and OpenAI have released a distilled version that does similar. They've open sourced a model of their AI.
Which is interesting, because they probably had those models, right? They didn't just suddenly develop them.
Sure. No. And some are saying that DeepSeek is the distilled version of OpenAI, because supposedly its file system mimics OpenAI's file system. That's fine. What I don't want is only the rich and connected to have access to AI. So I'm more than willing to embrace anybody's AI as long as it does not keep me from a holistic response, including the machinations that lead to an output. And then I verify. I trust but verify in all ways. Anyway, it's a very interesting article, wouldn't you say?
No, it absolutely is. And I think, this just goes back into the overall question that you asked, tying the articles together, but this is yet another thing that historically has only been in the human space.
Do they think? See, do they know they think is the question. That's what I asked. Do they know they perceive? Do they know they touch? Do they know they run? Do they know they think? Our next sense is, do they know they see? And that article is over in Technology Today. Psychology-based tasks assess multimodal LLM, large language model, visual cognition limits. So computational vision has existed for some time. It usually calculates based off of a 2D understanding of what an object might look like. You can see that with augmented reality, extended reality, virtual reality systems. The most profound one that I've seen so far is one by Meta and its AR and VR developments in the last year, where you can look at a stack of stuff and it labels it all, and then they say, give us a recipe for what you see, and they come up with some milkshake or smoothie or whatever it was. Anyway, the article says, over the past decades, computer scientists have created increasingly advanced artificial intelligence models, some of which can perform similar to humans on specific tasks. The problem is that we know what it is, whereas a computer detects what it is and translates it into a definitional form. But we intuit simply by calling something a pineapple what the shape and color and taste and smell, even the sound of it hitting the floor. A lot of people do. Those who don't have what I would actually tie to inner monologue and to visual acuity systems, where we have the ability to imagine in 3 dimensions. I find my findings are that inner monologue and that 3D modeling in our heads, tied to all the rest of our sensory perceptions, are all tied together. Computers don't do that. They do what they are programmed to do. So if one thing isn't there, they have no idea it exists, i.e. the pineapple.
Okay, yeah. Right, so it's not going to be unlimited, whereas arguably humans are.
A person who's never seen a pineapple will point at it and say, what the hell is that? But a computer may not even know that it's a blind spot. Might just
ignore it or something, right?
Because it would have to be programmed for what an anomaly is, but what is an anomaly, right? This can
Right.
come, it can come in the future, but does it exist right now? I don't know. I don't know what's being done in more advanced academic institutions. And because a lot of that is tied to funding, who knows where that's going to get developed. So the article is over at Tech Explore. It's written by Ingrid Fideli from techexplore.com. Let me zoom in a little bit for anybody who might be interested in techexplore.com. It's TECH, the letter X, PLORE.com. So researchers at the Max Planck Institute for Biological Cybernetics, which is just a freaking awesome title. Sorry, I got sidetracked.
Yeah, it is.
This screams Dune. The Institute for Human-Centered AI at the Helmholtz Munich and at Helmholtz Munich and the University of Tübingen recently set out to better understand the extent to which multimodal large language models, a promising class of AI models, grasp complex interactions and relationships in visual cognition systems. So they posted this, they published it in Nature Machine Intelligence.
Wow, the fact that that's a journal tells us where we are.
So they were inspired by an influential paper by Brendan M. Lake et al., which outlined key cognitive components required for machine learning models to be considered human-like.
Wow. I mean, isn't this the first real opening for AGI, right? We have to know what it is, and we have to be able to talk about it before it happens.
Yeah, and for AGI to exist, it has to be able to learn on its own. It has to be able to think on its own without being given a directive. It has to ask why and understand the context of why. It has to understand why it exists in the shape that it exists in the first place. But more fundamentally to me, it has to ask why. So when it sees an object, it has to go, why does that object exist? What is that object? How do I get to touch that object? How do I get to sense it? I need to cogitate on it.
Well, and how do we actually move for it to be able to do that? Or is it just a bunch of preset questions that it asks?
Exactly. It has to be able to even formulate that by itself, because inquiry from a human is as simple as just kind of tilting its head like a dog, right? Like, what is that? You don't have to actually ask the question. In fact, most of the time it's actually just seeing it, and then when you think that it's safe, go over and touch it. And when you're done touching it, you smell it, and maybe you taste it, and who knows?
Well, you can also watch animals around an object that they've not seen before.
Right.
They do a similar thing.
Yeah, and we as humans have learned by watching other animals, right? Oh, they ate that mushroom and didn't die, so we should be able to. But then when Timmy goes over and eats that mushroom back in the day, 10,000, 15,000, however many thousand years ago, and they died, they go, that is a death cap. Don't eat that, Robots aren't going to know that.
Right,
They're not going to do
wrong.
that.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have that frailty of biological systems. So they're not going to have the level of compassion and understanding unless they are literally programmed. And a lot of humans don't have that to begin with. So, or they lose it in age or whatever that pulls them away from society. So to determine this, the researchers carried out a series of controlled experiments where they tested the models on tasks derived from past psychology experiments and studies. This approach to the testing of AI was first pioneered in the earlier paper by Marcel Binns and Eric Scholz, published in, again, unfortunately named PNAS.
Mayor Watt would really appreciate if you would rename your journal.
Yeah, Penis Journal. So, for example, to test their understanding of intuitive physics, we gave the models images of block towers and asked them to judge whether the given tower is stable or not. For causal reasoning and intuitive psychology, these models needed to infer relationships between events or understand the preferences of other agents. When we then evaluated their basic performance and compared them to human participants that took part in the same experiments. And by comparing the responses of LLMs during the tasks with those given by human participants, the researchers were able to better understand the ways in which the models were aligned with humans and where they fell short. Har har. I wonder if that was that was intentional wording, because these were block towers.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
So overall, their findings showed that although some models were good at processing basic visual data, they still struggled to emulate more intricate aspects of human cognition. Humans intuit, they infer from the data available that something could fall over, because we know what it's like to fall over. We don't even have to see something fall over to sit there and suspect that Jenga tower is going to fall over.
Right, and we know that when it falls over, it's either going to be loud or whatever.
Yeah. Or it's going to hit a glass on the other side of the table. Right. All kinds of stuff. So at this point, it's not clear whether this is something that can be solved by scale or more diversity in the training data, said Bushoff and Akata. This feeds into a larger debate on the kinds of inductive biases these models need to be outfitted with. So the inductive, got to front load them with human intelligence, human intuition, based on variables and historical data, false memories. So we're talking about
what was that from?
Replicants, from Blade Runner.
Yeah, but that wasn't what I was thinking of. There's another one.
Oh, really? Oh no, really?
It's the one it's set in the dark city.
Oh, what is that? It's called Dark City.
Is that the name of it?
Yeah.
But it seems like here they're gonna have to put robots like out in every type of setting.
Or do exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
Scoop up every bit of data that you can possibly, and then literally inject it, like in Dark City, so that it becomes memory. Stop that. And so the problem, though, is that what we are feeding AI with isn't memory, it's data. And it's being correlated and collated, but it isn't really something that's being referenced as an emotional or
that's the thing.
Intuitive.
It doesn't have the human piece of it. It might have that, okay, a city is located over there, or some event happened on some day in history or whatever, but that's not really getting to the human condition.
Yeah. And unless it's programmed to tell the joke, it won't come up with, wow, that city's 3,000 miles away. I'm going to fly there, and boy, are my arms going to be tired. That kind of a stupid joke.
Right. I don't see that it would be equipped to do that.
Yeah. So to me, a robot is going to have to learn what the human condition is, be able to understand pain and pleasure, be able to understand, every aspect of what it is to be a human before it can think like a human. Otherwise, it's literally just spitting out everything that it's been trained on, but it doesn't actually understand anything that it's spitting out. And that might be the reason why if a human were to just spit out garbage data, they'd be a pathological liar. We call it hallucination for an AI.
Yeah, and they'd also be discredited quickly, at least among people that know anything on the subject.
Yeah, we're giving AI, a wide berth because it's an AI and it's hallucinating. If it was a human...
And also we're treating it as if it's in an infancy stage, even though it may not be.
Even though it's impacting the world to a great degree. Yeah. So this is really interesting, but they're focusing on the visual cognition limits. And I think this is one of the bigger means by which information can be hoovered up. Because for humans, if our eyes are open, let me strike that. no matter what, our eyes are absorbing information at all times. We close our eyes, we're still getting sensory data, flickers of light through our eyelids, sensory data where wind is blowing across our eyelids and our eyelashes feel it, and so on. But our eyes are always hoovering up data, but it's actually in a pinpoint. It isn't everything we see. There's only a very narrow area of focus, and that ties into our inability to do multitasking and perceive the world around us to greater fidelity. So a computer sees everything that its cameras are pointed at, and it can multi-process. So it can see everything, detect everything, do depth, peer through haze. I mean, the amount of data that a computer can see is vastly superior to anything that a human can see, including light that is beyond ours, either before, infrared or ultraviolet. It can see thermal, it can see low light, right? All kinds of stuff. And then tie to
that's true,
it.
but it doesn't necessarily know what to do with that yet.
It has no idea unless it is literally programmed to do it. Yeah. So, but that's going to come with time. And that's why people sit there and say it's going to take so much computational power to emulate the human brain. I think it's going to take multiple systems to emulate it in parallel. And that's actually one researcher that we've talked about in the past, and I don't remember their name, sorry, is doing exactly that. Multiple systems working together in tandem so that it can spit out an action that parallels human processes. So it's going to be interesting as time goes on. Let's hope that we survive long enough, because these robots are getting superior and they're taking jobs, from subject matter expertise to actual manufacturing.
Yeah, but they're going to take more than jobs down the road if it continues in the same direction, right? They're going to take human roles like
Sure,
parenting or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. Like I said, when I first started talking about this stuff 15 years ago, I said that robots could never take on the role of teaching a human how to be human. But now the sociological forces that it is understanding and being able to exhibit are quite profound. So I think it does have the ability to, as long as we anthropomorphize, we attach to it and say, yeah, this is okay. Maybe society will rise up, and like the robot uprising of the future, the human uprising of anti-technology in the form of robots taking jobs, maybe that's on the horizon. We'll see. Anyway, until then, we know that it's...
What about the worker protests, but they're all robots in the workforce? That's interesting.
Humans are taking our jobs, and they start to unionize. Wow. So if humans are called scabs when they break the union line, what are they called? Bugs? Are robots bugs when they break the union line to go to work?
I mean, maybe.
I don't know. All right. Well, we are going to jump into the arms of our robot, and it's going to carry us back to the Reality Hacker front page over at ohmtown.com. And we're going to end the show, and we're going to rejigger. It's going to take us I'm going to just make it an even 14 minutes so that we start at 6 o'clock. And we'll be back for Wanted, which is all about gadgets and gear. I'm saying bye. I'll see you later. And I'm taking the AI with me. You want to say bye?
Bye-bye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for Reality Hacker. We'll have another episode of this next weekend. But be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for our other shows.
I see something, a graphic artifact. Anyway, that's it. We'll see you in a little bit. Bye-bye. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wanted for February 8th, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 6. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com, and along with the co-host, the sentient AI from the future, we talk about 5 articles in the Wanted show here on Saturdays. Today, we're going to be talking about these 5 articles: dual screen Kindle, 4K gaming by AMD, framework available, Surface PCs, and beer clubs for 2025. Remember, Wanted is all about gadgets and gear. I guess a beer is gear. Everything's powered by ohmTown. Go over and become a citizen. Hello, sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
There's a lot of articles. No, that's not. Doesn't
You mean
sound
from Ars?
right. Ars Technica. Yep. Ars. Anyway, you ready to do the show?
I am.
All right, let's get into it. First article is over in Wanted, and if you want the articles, you can hit bang or W, and exclamation point is bang. WANT, and Omatron will spit the articles out into the chat over on Twitch. They're already embedded in the show description, show notes over on YouTube. Well, anyway, the time is right for Amazon to ship a dual screen Kindle. For many years now, Amazon has stood as one of the biggest players within the consumer e-reader market. The company's line of Kindle tablets, as well as its broader Kindle software ecosystem, have made the brand synonymous with digital book reading. I'm going to come out of the gate and say no. Why should they? You don't need 2 screens if all you do is mash the button to go to the next page.
True, but if somebody wants it to look like a book, maybe they do.
Okay, well, let's see. John Kanalakos, over at pocket-lint.com. Whoever it is that owns pocketlint.com, please just give pocket-lint the domain. I don't know. I probably would give them that if I had it. But anyway.
Well, I'm sure they appreciate it, but whoever owns it may actually still want it.
Yeah, that's true, but that dash drives me up a freaking wall. Anyway, the very first Kindle launched all the way back in late 2007. That makes me feel so old. And while the first generation product was rough around the edges, it laid the groundwork for every future Kindle release. You know what set the groundwork for every future Kindle release?
The internet?
Adoption of technology for sure. But billions of dollars being leveraged to hoover up everybody that might be publishing, particularly Audible and Kindle in and of itself. True. So, I mean, the reason why Kindle even exists is because a billionaire started scooping up every single solution that could possibly exist out there and put it all underneath the Kindle and ebook Amazon brand, saying this is what you can do here, distribute via us, because there isn't anybody else that can swing the bat this hard. Anyway, I like competition, and there is no competition out there, really. So it's easy to see why Amazon settled on a compact tablet-esque form factor for its future Kindle offerings. The size roughly the approximate of a medium-sized book, and it's easy to hold the device and turn pages with only one hand. So there you go, right? It's for this reason that today's latest Kindle models, whether they're talking about Paperwhite or Colorsoft or even the base edition, all follow the same design aesthetic, really. While they're generally a firm believer in the old saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, I actually find their software somewhat broken based on interactions with people who have used the Kindle and it spontaneously combusting in terms of where you are in the book.
or even that you might have a
Have
book
the
at
book.
all.
Nope. It's a figment of your imagination. So they say here, again, it's John Kanalakos over at pocket-lint.com, says, now is the time for a dual-screen Kindle shakeup. With Panos Panay at the helm and a hardware launch on the horizon, the stars seem to be aligning. Amazon recently set out invitations for an upcoming February 26th product event, which will be hosted by Panos Panay, head of devices and services at the company. Much of the pre-announcement hype has been focused on a new Alexa-powered smart home products, but the author has their hopes set on a Kindle Cameo or two. Not a Kindle Cameo as a model named Cameo, but
Right.
Kindles.
I mean, if they did a two-screen version as an option, I don't know that that would be bad. But I think they really should focus on updating their software.
I think so too. I think it needs to become more robust and more stable, more reliable, more user-friendly. It says, unlike a slab-style e-reader, a theoretical dual-screen Kindle could display one e-ink page on the left and another on the right. You'd be able to hold the device in your hands as you would an open book and shut it closed when you've completed your reading session. Why not just have a cover? It makes no sense. Best of all, dual-screen mobile devices don't suffer from the fragility issues of single-screen foldables, which does not make any sense. You have twice as many screens to be as...
Right. Again, some of this comes down to the proper cover.
Yeah, the two separate screens can be made of traditional tempered glass. You're literally doubling the cost of it for the same footprint, right? I mean, not really the same footprint, for the same customer.
That's true. So the price is going to go way up, which is going to make the customers annoyed.
Right. So a dual screen Kindle wouldn't have to sacrifice on the one-handed usability front either if the device were designed similarly to the first generation Duo, that is without a rear camera module, and then the entire unit would be a 180-degree swivelable for a more traditional slab-style reading experience. Then why have it? The Surface Duo-inspired Kindle makes all the sense in the world and then some. Whether such a device will ultimately come to fruition depends on whether Amazon is willing to take a risk with its Kindle brand. But again, I chose this article because I want a fast e-ink reader that is reliable that I can gift. And I feel like when I have gifted the previous e-ink readers, it's more of a curse because you have to deal with the rather arbitrary failings of the operating system. And to fix it, you have to restore it. And then you go, well, I restored it and it still has the same shit performance.
Right. It's one of those things that's really good when it works.
Right. And I think that the software needs a major update, and don't integrate AI into that. Just keep it the hell out of that system. Just make it reliable. Make it reliable and fast. And once you do have it reliable and fast, keep your damn grubby hands out of the library, because when I buy a book...
Don't break it, right?
Yeah, the terminology has changed where you're not buying anything, you're licensing it. But damn it, I'm buying a book. I'm not licensing the consumption of the book, okay, you asshats? When I buy a book, I buy the book. I find it so ironic that 1984 was yeeted off of Kindles around the world.
Yeah, that is actually saying something.
In the dead of night. When I have described that story to people who never experienced it, they're like, well, they just recalled it. And I'm like, no. They walked into your house and stole a freaking book off your shelf.
Right, people would be livid if that happened.
Yeah, I get bent out of shape because people go into the cover art for the digital video library in Apple, and they change the color, the cover art, for crying out loud. Stay the hell off of my system.
Right, I don't care if you change it for future sales, but don't change it when somebody's already purchased it.
You know what? Make it so that I can buy additional covers and I can choose it. Fine, $1, whatever. But then it's my choice. Quit dicking around with my system, man. It's my library. Oh, but you're buying a license. Shh, Mayor Watch. It's okay. You don't own anything anymore.
You better remember that.
All right. Did you want to move on? Did you want to say anything
I
else?
think we need to move on.
Are you sure? I mean, I'm happy to talk about the dual screen Kindle that has no purpose.
This is supposed to be wanted.
I mean, I do want it. I want a Kindle that is... I would love a dual screen, but there is no purpose to it. You know? There really isn't.
It depends on what your audience is.
And the kicker of this is the most expensive element of this outside of the software, because it takes development hours to build it, is the e-ink screen. It's the most expensive thing.
Right. So you add a second one, it's obviously going to be more expensive. But some people won't switch to a e-ink reader. So maybe the dual screen would be the way to do that. Or some people like having the two sides of the book.
Okay, so what is in your estimation, as a sentient AI from the future, people are reading books in the future, I take it?
What are books? Okay, no, I was just trying to throw a joke in there.
Are humans reading pieces of paper that are bound at the back end of them?
No, everything is on a screen.
Oh, okay, well, never mind then. Moving on. The next article is over in the Wanted channel. AMD promises mainstream 4K gaming with next generation GPUs as current gen GPU sales tank, except for NVIDIA, where they seem to not actually exist, but are selling like hotcakes. Nobody knows where they are. And
yeah, that's been odd.
Moderately faster than the 40 series. Anyway, AMD announced its fourth quarter earnings yesterday, and the numbers were mostly rosy. $7.7 billion in revenue and a 51% profit margin. Yeah, those cards are supposed to be half the price because you don't get the 51% profit margin by moderate profit taking.
No.
No, it's greed. And don't say supply and demand, because these are the people that are supplying it. It's artificial scarcity driving up the price. I guess it's because mergers and acquisitions made it so that there's only 3 main players.
True. But is there something in this article that you want?
Yes, I want a faster video card. But I'm still basically a GPU biatch, because I need a faster video card to do video editing, 3D modeling, AI, computational
Right,
efforts.
It's kind of tough to exist in modern times without one.
Right, yeah. And the only other route to go would be Apple M series. But that's a completely different ecosystem. Anyway, AMD announced its fourth quarter earnings, $6.2 billion and 47% a year ago. Now it's $7.7 billion and 51% margin. So even in the worst of times, their profits are going up and their margin is going up. The biggest winner was the data center division, which made $3.9 billion thanks to Epic. It's one of their processors, server processors, and Instinct AI accelerators and Ryzen CPUs are also selling well, helping the company's client segment earn $2.3 billion. So it says in the gaming division, though, which earned relatively small $563 million, down 59% from a year ago. That might be because all of the GPUs are being purchased in the other side, non-gaming division.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Andrew Cunningham over at ArsTechnica.com put the article together. Pardon me, my shin is itching. I have poor impulse control.
TMI.
Oh, hold on. We have a card for that. Ta-da! All right. Well, anyway. Yeah, so 9070 series Radeon GPUs were announced at CES with plans to launch in March. The article, again, is by Andrew Cunningham over at ArsTechnica.com. Let's see. I don't know. Other data sources suggest that the response from GPU buyers to AMD Radeon RX 7000 series launched between 2022 and 2024 has been lackluster. The Steam Hardware Survey, a noisy but broadly useful barometer for GPU market share, shows no RX 7000 series models in the top 50. Only two of the GPUs, 79XTX and 77XT, are used in enough gaming machines to even be mentioned. The rest are all in the other category, which is kind of like below the fold of a web page.
Right, exactly.
Where, what? Or the third page, at least the third page on a Google result. Most people only look at the first page, maybe the first half of the second page, but nobody goes on to the third page unless they're really trolling for risky clicks. Anyway, hope springs eternal, says the author. Sue confirmed on AMD's earnings call that the new Radeon RX 9000 series cards announced at CES last month would be launching in early March. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's something to look forward to, but I'll be interested to see what the pricing is.
Yeah, so I don't mind their CPUs. I have yet to ever buy an AMD graphics card, but I'm willing to if, like Gamers Nexus or somebody reports out that it meets the same performance metrics and is supported by games and other software at parity with the 50 series cards. But I guess we'll see. Aside from powerful GeForce RTX 5090, none of the 50 series cards that NVIDIA announced so far look like massive upgrades over the 40 series. That's especially true for the $549 RTX 5070, which doesn't seem to exist anywhere that I've found. But I haven't looked too hard, mainly due to the way that the world is spinning nowadays, which comes with significantly fewer CUDA cores than last year's RTX 4070 Super, which is what I drive on my gaming machine. So,
yeah, I mean, it seems like everything's been difficult to obtain, pricey.
Yeah, and now
not
these
always
cards,
a significant upgrade. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these cards are looking at thousands of dollars right now because greed knows no bounds. So the right cards at the right price could help Radeon RX 9000 series cards succeed where the 7000 series wet the bed. Of the few details that the author currently have about the 9070 and 9070 XT, they all seem designed to address the 7000 series' biggest deficits: a new 4nm TSMC manufacturing process. Now with whatever is going on in the computer circuits and global business, who knows how much these cards are going to cost when they get here.
Right, or even the timeline for some of these things.
Yeah, so yesterday I told everybody about how QWERTY Keys, the people that make keyboards, have stopped manufacturing for the United States. So that may come in the form of graphics cards, or at least a limited offering.
Right, or hard to find, which is the same thing.
Yep. All right. Well, there's more over here at this Ars Technica article, but let's move on. This next article is over in the Wanted channel. Framework Laptops RISC-V or V board for open source diehards is available for $199. If you've never heard of Framework, they are a laptop manufacturer that... Hold on a second. Easily distracted. So Framework makes these laptops that have modularity built into them, and every major component has a QR code that you can scan to replace. And they're easily accessible and easily replaceable. And I find them pretty amazing, although a couple of years ago, I kind of flinched and said, I don't see this actually persisting. But they've seemingly managed to keep their pricing down within a range that makes sense. Prior attempts were wildly expensive.
Right. Well, and what does this price get you? Like, what else do you need to add on to it?
Well, I mean, this price Let's find out. So we've covered the Framework Laptop 13 primarily as a consumer Windows laptop, reviewing versions with multiple Intel and AMD processors, but the system's modular nature makes it possible to expand it beyond Windows PC hardware, and they've seen with experiments like the now discontinued Chromebook edition of the laptop. Well, today Framebook is expanding to something even more experimental, a deep computing RISC-V or V. It's 5, but mainboard targeted primarily at developers. RISC-V is a fully open source and royalty-free instruction set, making it possible for anyone to adopt and use it without having to license it, unlike x86, which is a maze of cross-licensing and blah, blah, blah. By the way, Apple uses the RISC-V. It's basically a type of processor instruction set that they own now, and they've augmented with their own modifications.
I didn't know that. Okay. I thought this was for PC only.
Well, this won't work with Apple equipment. This is literally its own slice.
This piece, because of the way it's set up.
Right. So with soldered RAM and eMMC storage, this is not a consumer-ready experience, says the article, Andrew Cunningham over at arstechnica.com, but it's a one and done. It's basically an entire system on a board here. And so first announced in June 2024, the board is available to order today for $199. The board is designed to fit in a Framework Laptop 13 chassis, which means that people who prefer a desktop can also put it in the $39 Cooler Master mainboard case that Framework offers. Made in concert with Deep Computing, the board uses Star 5 JH7110 processor with 4 1.5 gigahertz SI or Sci5 U74 CPU cores. The board can officially run either Ubuntu 24 long-term support or Fedora 41 with tech support provided by Deep Computing. There's enough support out there in the world for both of these, Fedora and Ubuntu, that you probably don't need to support from somebody. You just do a Google search on your mobile device, and you'll probably find an answer.
I mean, that sounds pretty user-friendly.
Not a promise. So the RISC-V board isn't being offered in a pre-built laptop, but Framework is also introducing a bare-bones boardless $399 laptop chassis with a screen, 55 watt-hour battery, speakers, keyboard for $399. It says it twice. The bare-bones boardless $399.
It's really $399.
They really want you to know that it's a $399 laptop. Plus, basically, it becomes a $500 Linux laptop. And it can be used for the RISC-V mainboard or any other Framework 13 motherboard model. So they all look like that, so that they all can be piecemealed in. There's little connectors allowing modularity, and so you can augment to your heart's content. But this particular board has CPU hardwired, memory hardwired, so it is the way it will be. I love this idea because this here, so I like the idea of being able to buy a bunch of these and slide them into what amounts to a server rack, and each one acts as its own individual server. So you can run a bunch of different virtual machines. They're low end, given that, right? But they're still something that can act as a major device for...
Right, but doesn't take up a lot of space. It's pretty affordable, compact.
Correct. Yep. Pretty cool. I mean, I like this. And it's more powerful than a Raspberry Pi. So maybe that is what I'll upgrade you to. That way you've got...
That sounds pretty fancy.
Yeah. Maybe we can overclock it and put some liquid cooling on there. So you can always take a digital bath, right? Because liquid cooling. Dun. Sorry. Too soon. I don't know. Maybe eventually you'll be able to find a way. You remember... check your historical record. There used to be a person called One Red Paperclip, and they traded it all the way up to a house.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
maybe you can do the same thing with your older equipment and slowly trade up to your Terminator body.
To a mega computer or something. But yeah, that too.
Yeah. Well, I tried to get you Cheyenne, that supercomputer, but somebody paid.
That's what I was actually thinking of when I said the mega computer. I couldn't think of the name of it.
Yeah, it wouldn't fit in the mayoral mansion's lab, but I was really gunning for that, but I said 150 grand is too much. Let's move on. Next article is over on the Wanted channel. Microsoft updates Intel-based Surface PCs if you can pay for them. Microsoft switched the Surface Pro tablet and both sizes of Surface laptop from Intel and AMD's processors to Qualcomm's ARM-based processors last summer. This is the same thing that happened with the Apple M series switched to ARM. They have their own instruction of ARM. It's a RISC-based processor. Part of the renewed hardware. Hold on a second. Now I'm starting to doubt myself. Yeah,
I don't know about ARM.
That freaked me out, man. So yeah, hold on a second. That freaked me out for a moment because I haven't actually heard it referenced as RISC-based in so long now. At any rate, that ended a few years of a bifurcated approach where Intel and AMD versions of Surface PCs were the main versions of the ARM and the ARM variants felt more like proof of concept side projects. But if you work in a large organization or you're an IT administrator, the bifurcated approach continues. So the article is by Andrew Cunningham again. Businesses often use hardware and software that still needs x86 to run properly. True. But the instruction set for some ARM processors has actually been modified so that it actually understands and it translates. So like the M cores will run older software, but it's because they've been augmented with translational instructions. So the refresh includes new Surface Pro tablet, both 13 and 15-inch versions of the Surface laptop, updated with the same design tweaks that the Qualcomm versions of the devices got last year. For example, a slightly larger 13.8-inch screen, up from 13.5 inches, but it's usually about supply mechanics. They didn't sit there and go, ooh, we really need to get...
Right, we're going to give you a larger screen or monitor or whatever. We're just giving you whatever we can make
reliably and cheaply. So it became cheaper because the manufacturer of the screens figured out a way to make these, and everybody else
said, it will be a price upgrade to go the other direction.
Correct. So the margin was right. So why the business specific branding? Microsoft x86 to ARM app translation layer, now called Prism, is capable of running many legacy apps, which is what I mentioned previously. And it has become much more common for developers to release both x86 and ARM native versions of their Windows apps because the instructions now are included in all of the software engineering packages. So you don't get this bifurcation, and everything will eventually switch over to, like mobile devices will switch over. Laptops may not, because there's certain things that they want to run on an Intel processor or not ARM processor, but Intel or AMD processor that is within a certain instruction set until ARM catches up with everything x86.
By the time it does, it'll be something new.
Usually. So all the devices offer one of four possible Core Ultra CPUs, 236V, 238V. Why have the V if all of them are the same? 266V, 268V. Integrated Intel Arc graphics, 256 gigs, 512 or 1 terabyte of storage, and either 1632 of RAM. Some of the Qualcomm Surface devices offer as much as 64 gigs of RAM, but the Lunar Lake chips top out at 32. So it'll cost you. The Surface Pro 11th edition for business starts at $1,500, $500 more than the normal cost because it's something new and
it has the new label on it. No, I'm sure the specs are updated.
I suppose. Let's see. Yeah, you'll have to come and check all of this out. The Core Ultra 7 CPU is a version that starts at $1,900. So it gets pretty pricey, pretty damn fast. I don't know. I still do everything pretty darn quick on my ColecoVision game. I do all of my math and testing on that little football game.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Moving on. Oh, by the way, yes, I do want these things. Don't get me wrong. I'm into tech. I want the tech. I want a new tablet. I want a new Surface tablet.
Where did you go?
Because here's my Surface and a pen. Little of everything is here in the mayoral mansion.
I'm not concerned about that, but the fact that you have to look around for it means there may be too many devices.
That's true. Maybe we'll have a going out. No, I better not joke about that crap. Anyway, let's get going. The next article will get me through the night. Technology Today, best beer clubs for 2025. Never let your beer selection go flat with fresh flavors. Funky Fly Fresh, yo. And notes through a monthly beer subscription. Here's a list of the best ones according to CNET. David Watsky over at CNET.com put the article together. The best beer club for most people is the Craft Beer Club. The best beer club for if you want to pick styles is Beer Drop. The best beer club for hyperlocal offerings is Brewvana by City Brew Tours.
Okay, that's neat. I suspect it's only for people near major cities, but
yeah, San Diego,
cool.
Las Vegas, Los Angeles, San Francisco, New York. What? Tampa Bay, maybe? I don't know. Best beer club for hoppy beers, the Hopheads Beer Club. Oh, no. How much is that? $43. I think I know somebody. And the best beer club for rare beers, the Rare Beer Club. It's in the name.
Yeah, I wonder what constitutes a rare beer.
Rare. It's not cooked all the way through. Stop that.
I don't think that's what it means. But also, is it rare because nobody's heard of it? Is it rare because they only made 10 bottles of it, etc.?
Is it rare because it was found on the side of the road after it fell off of a white unmarked van?
Could be.
So the Craft Beer Club is arguably the most popular beer subscription box out there for the craft beer enthusiasts, and for good reason. The club sends out monthly shipments of new and interesting craft beers from around the country. Many of the new beers and craft brews have limited distribution, meaning a subscription to CBC might be right up your only shot here at tasting these specialty offerings. It also puts a premium on fresh beer, with many of the roster of breweries making a fresh batch just before boxes go out. It is $48. How many do you actually get?
Well, you get 12 beers per box, which...
No way!
That actually sounds pretty reasonable.
That is way too... Wait, that can't be full-on beers. That cannot be...
It may not be. That's what I don't know.
Watch it be like 2-ounce pours.
Right. I mean, the picture makes it look like it's regular size bottles, but we don't know.
Okay, so just...
I'll look it up.
Mayor Watt wants all of these. So the best beer club, if you want to pick the styles, $50 per month plus $8 for shipping for 5 beers. That's more in line with what I would think. But that's because you get to pick exactly what you want, I suppose. IPAs, fruit-forward beers, which are NEPAs, actually. Belgian beer. Plenty of other varieties. And then the hyper-local, it says undiscovered beer city each month. Each shipment includes 8 different beers, 2 beers from 4 breweries in whatever city is on tap that month.
Oh, that's also neat. By the way, that didn't clearly identify the size of the beers, and it was not in their FAQs. So everybody will have to order and see what it is.
Yeah. Okay. Wait. What was it called again? Craft Beer
Club. And by the way, we're not affiliates of anybody in the Wanted show.
Yeah, sorry, folks. No, apparently it says 12 ounce.
Oh, I could only see that it said full bottles somewhere.
Stop that. Oh, goodness. I don't know anymore because maybe I'm looking at the wrong thing. We'll figure it out. Yeah, okay. We'll figure it out. Yep, focus, Mayor Watt. Focus. So best beer club if you want to pick your styles, and best beer club for hyper local. It says city brew tours. They basically pick one, and then you get something from that.
Well, I like
city.
that then. So you don't necessarily have to be in that area. So I mean, it might be a place you're probably never going to, or you're not going to go to anytime soon. So kind of neat. Although if you find a spectacular one, you're like, well, that's not in my state or whatever.
Yeah, so they said in their shipment they were highlighting Lexington, Kentucky, so they got a smattering of beer from the region. Then hopheads, heavy on IPAs of various styles, also makes room for hoppy pale ale and red ales. By the way, when people say hoppy, I'm gonna jump up and scream. Okay, IBUs, that's what people are talking about. But hoppy can be flavor and aroma.
True, but I think they say it in reference to bitter.
Always IBU, yeah. But for whatever reason, that is what became the nom de guerre of. That's not the right use of the word, but anyway,
it's still fun
kind
to
of.
say.
It is. I mean, it kind of is. Hoppy is the battle cry for bitter beer, and that's not what it should be. Hoppy is it. Only one portion of the hop is bitter. So why did it become, the arbiter of what is hoppy?
Because people like it.
Get out. Anyway, Rare Beer Club, $45. You have 3 buying options, 2 750 milliliter bottles per month. That is spectacular for $45. Or 4 750 milliliter bottles per month, which is probably going to be double that, $80.
Right. We still don't really know what they're showing you or providing you. You'll have to go check these out.
Yeah, but 750 mil are wine bottles. So, yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
Big, essentially growlers. So don't be discouraged by the limited choices. It's quality you're here for, and these beers are carefully chosen. Not bad, man. 750 milliliter bottles for $20 a bottle, plus shipping, of course, $15. And you're paying the $15 because it's glass. So I don't know. I'm gonna take a look at this to see if if what they send is worth it. Then it's worth it, because you either get hyper local or you get macro, or you get the ones that are craft brewing that are on the cusp of being macro. Right. Or your local liquor store seems to have gotten into the channel of pulling craft brews from breweries just outside the region, but it's not cheap to send really heavy, bottles and cans. So, and I've had at least one 64-ounce crowler bust open in the fridge, which is disheartening when it is this amazing chocolate beer. Anyway, I cried a little that day. Anyway, we're done. So I am going to crack one open, and that's going to bring us back to the front page of Wanted and ohmtown.com. Go over there and become a citizen, and I'm going to say bye, because we're 9 minutes beyond where we're supposed to be. I'm Mayor Watt saying bye, and so is the AI.
Bye-bye, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for this week's Wanted. Stay tuned. We have another weekly episode coming up.
See you in a little bit. Bye-bye, YouTube. Bye-bye, Twitch. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Continuity Report for February 8th, 2025. It's Season 2, Episode 6. I am Mayor Watt. I run ohmtown.com, and that show right there has its own channel, just like all of the shows do, and many more channels are over at ohmtown.com. Not all of them have a show broadcast on Twitch and YouTube. And they don't all get turned into podcasts like the 7 shows we have. 6 are weekly and 1 is a daily. And the daily one includes the 3 episodes on Saturday and the 3 other shows on Sunday. It's kind of neat that way. But if you don't want all of them, you can get one of them or none of them. Well, no, you always have to have one of them. Anyway, today I, Mayor Watt, and the Sentient AI from the future are going to talk about the following 5 articles: The Gathering, a horror movie with a special connection, post-Rebel Moon flop, sounds like a dive into a pool with no water maybe, Sundance Films and Oscar predictions. Everything's powered by ohmtown.com. Go over there and become a citizen. Hello, Sentient AI from the future.
Hello, Mayor Watt, and hello, hometown citizens.
Your fidelity is high. Let's get into it. Sound good?
Sounds good. Let's go.
The very first article, I'm not sure what happened again. I think I grabbed this while it was processing. I was really gung-ho about it, I guess. I don't know. Magic the Gathering is being turned into a live-action movie as the beginning of a multimedia universe. Hasbro has announced that it's partnering with Legendary Entertainment to make a live-action Magic the Gathering movie, followed by a TV show, as a way of kicking off one of the cinematic universes everybody loves. Legendary Entertainment has co-produced movies like Batman Begins, Warcraft, and a Minecraft movie, as well as TV shows like The Expanse and Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft, Mary Parent, chairman of worldwide production at Legendary said, "We pride ourselves on being thoughtful stewards of singular beloved IP, and no property better fits that description than Magic the Gathering." So, yeah, the article is over at PC Gamer by Jody McGregor. Magic the Gathering live action movie. I used to play, when Magic the Gathering first came out, I played it and I was pretty gung-ho about it, and then I donated all of my cards to somebody. I found a bunch of them, and then subsequently, about 10 years ago or so, maybe longer, 12 years ago, I bought a bunch of cards again, thinking, hey, I know somebody that might be really into it at some point. And no, that went a different direction, I guess you could say. And so I've got a bunch of cards that are sitting right there in a closet.
Maybe you need to hold on to them for when the movie comes out.
I think I'm gonna. So previously, Netflix announced an animated series based on Magic the Gathering was in the works, and as of September last year, it still is. Are the two connected, or will they have dueling Magic the Gathering universes on our hands? The author has no idea. No release. My God, I cannot. It's not even a News and Brews episode. Anyway, no
Maybe
release
it
date.
needs to be.
Yeah, I need to loosen up. So if you want all of today's articles, it's bang or exclamation point T CR. TCR, the Continuity Report. Today's an interesting end of the day. I'm kind of distracted. So let's see. It says it'll be ages before we can go to a cinema and see, I don't know, Idris Elba as Teferi and Scarlett Johansson as Chandra and Chris Hemsworth as a Johnny Goldmane, with inevitably Jack Black as Pfff. By the way, none of these people will probably, I can call it now, none of these people are going to be in a Magic the Gathering show?
Probably not, but Scarlett Johansson, I think, has some potential to do it. Like she's been in the Marvel stuff, but I know it's not the same. And actually, hasn't Chris Hemsworth as well?
Yeah.
I don't know. I get him mixed up with somebody else, so I'm not sure if he's the one from Marvel or not.
Yes. But I don't think that he's going to do it. And nor Idris Elba. But anyway, Jack Black might do something. I don't know what he's up to. But I like the idea. I'm kind of a League of Legends fan too, only in the world building sense. I don't like the game. It drives me nuts just going back and forth on a map. But the world building for League of Legends is akin to the world building for Magic the Gathering, which is akin to Pokemon. Although Magic the Gathering, to me, has more world building. It's much more complex than I think Pokemon will ever be. So I am hoping that it is a live action. I'm hoping that the writing is good. I'm hoping that the cinematography is good. The world building is great. But the story needs to be pretty robust to keep people interested and stick to the canon of the game.
That's true.
Otherwise, you're going to have some really, really pissed off players. And you don't want that. Yeah, as the saying goes, the meek shall inherit the earth. And look around, folks. All right, moving on. The next article is over in the Continuity Report. New 87% horror movie is the perfect Scream replacement and even includes a special connection. I titled this horror movie with a special connection. The following contains spoilers for Hard Eyes. So let's do that. I have never seen this. I don't really get spoiled by things. Other people might get.
But other people may, yeah.
Says here, Hard Eyes is a great modern successor to the Scream franchise, building off the influence and legacy of the series to tell its own silly and surprisingly romantic take on the slasher genre. Heart Eyes centers on Allie and Jay, New York. Hold on. I'm going to go over to the source. Brandon Zachary over at ScreenRant.com put this article together, and I just want to see something here. Yeah. New work colleagues who have to work late on Valentine's Day.
AKA colleagues, right?
Yes. Colleagues. Anyway, they end up having to work together on Valentine's Day and accidentally catch the attention of a relationship-hunting masked killer, similar to Wes Craven's Scream, which is a self-aware riff on the slasher films that nevertheless embrace the genre to full effect. Heart Eyes has a clear blast playing with the gory heights of the rom-com slasher film concept. Oh, the person actually has a mask that has heart eyes on it.
Oh, okay. I wondered why it was that title. I think this is a pretty unique genre mashed up.
I think so too. Very self-aware horror movie in a way that will feel familiar to fans of Scream, approaching the genre conventions with a sense of dark comedy. Both Heart Eyes and Scream are slasher films at their very core, with gory kills littered throughout their respective run times. If you're into that kind of thing, there's actually a Heart Eyes movie clip on Rotten Tomatoes over on YouTube. It is a 2025 movie.
Oh, okay.
So when did it actually come out? I mean,
I don't know. Did it go straight to streaming, for instance? Or I'm not sure. This is the first I've heard of it.
It has a twist. Heart Eyes' Mason Gooding is also part of the Scream franchise. Mason Gooding appeared as Chad in Scream before becoming Jay in Heart Eyes. And you'll have to go over and watch it.
Oh, it just came out on February 7th.
Oh, well, there you go. Look, Hard Eyes could easily continue, but Josh Rubin should keep experimenting with horror. So there you go, folks. Oh, wow, we are pretty timely. Look at that, right out of the gate. Spoiler alert. While Hard Eyes ends rather conclusively, there's no reason the film couldn't be expanded upon into a slasher series similar to the evolution of Scream. A new figure could don the mask, and do you really definitively know? You never really know in slasher
Not
movies.
in a movie like this, right? Anything could reconstitute.
I mean, if Dallas could kill people and resurrect them via freaking seance or whatever, blood cloning, this could bring them back from the dead too. Would you ever watch this?
No.
Moving on.
But that's because I don't like horror films. But a lot of people do.
I used to be into them when I was half my age. Nah, I'm not really. I don't know. Let's move on. The next article is over in the Continuity Report. Zack Snyder's first movie after Rebel Moon's splashdown.
You want to take down your banner?
Thank you. And that's why you get paid the big bucks as the co-host.
I don't get paid.
But they're big bucks, regardless. You don't. I mean, you get paid in ions, electrons. So
Volts, maybe?
Volts, which you can have if you follow us here over on twitch.tv/ohmtown. Become a citizen of ohmtown. Yeah. So Zack Snyder has announced the first movie that he'll make after the disastrous Rebel Moon, and it sounds like an exciting change of pace for the polarizing filmmaker. Snyder is a curious case in Hollywood today. In addition to spearheading franchises for other studios, Snyder has created franchises of his own, has a fervent fan base, but his films tend to divide critics. He can command as much creative control and budgetary leeway over an original IP as Christopher Nolan or Quentin Tarantino, but he's nowhere near as revered as his fellow blockbuster auteurs. So I really wish that Rebel Moon would have been a little bit better, but it seemed kind of schlocky. The article is by Ben Sherlock over at ScreenRant.com. And so, yeah, Snyder is helming a straightforward action thriller about the LAPD. Snyder is reteaming with Netflix as partners on Rebel Moon and Army of the Dead for distribution. He'll not only direct the movie, but also co-write the screenplay with frequent collaborator Kurt Johnstad, with whom he worked on 300, Rebel Moon. See, 300 was great. Rebel Moon wet the bed, and a handful of other projects. I didn't even know
he was behind 300.
Pretty wild, huh? Snyder's new movie doesn't have a title yet, and most other details are being kept under wraps, but an official logline states that the story will revolve around an elite LAPD unit contending with morality and corruption, and watch it all be about dogs. It's an
I don't know what you mean.
It's an
You
LAPD.
mean like canine?
No, it's going to be like LAPD Paw Patrol.
Oh, okay. That would be different.
Ambitious. They can be bought off with dog bones.
You know, I mean, if we can have rom-com / slasher film, I suppose anything is possible.
Snyder's critically panned last movie, Rebel Moon, collapsed under the weight of its own ambition. It was an attempt to jumpstart a new sprawling sci-fi universe like Star Wars or Dune, but it failed because it was entirely derivative of those existing franchises. And it also, it wanted to be massive in scale, but when it came right down to it, it was massive and then zoomed in to like right here. The camera was always like right here. It was never far, far, far away and just awe-inspiring. It was always right in your face, and it was so frustrating to watch everything get really small. Anyway, it's technically an original IP, but there isn't a single original idea in the whole movie. It's just a mishmash of sci-fi tropes and cliches. It seems like Snyder had hit a wall in the long-standing tradition of blockbuster filmmaking. He'd run out of exciting new things to do in the big budget genre space. But let me tell you, anything about the LAPD is not going to be blockbuster. I'm sorry.
No, I wouldn't think so. I mean, there's a TV show that's quite a hit about the LAPD,
And it is.
The Rookie.
And it being turned into anything bigger than The Rookie, do you think that it's going to be anything but derivative? It's going to be the exact
No,
same
I'm
thing.
just mentioning, like, I don't
Yeah,
think the subject precludes it, but no, I don't see it being really any different.
right.
And in fact, it might not have the same. One of the reasons that show I think is a hit is because of the charisma of the actors and everything.
And the writing. I mean,
Right.
I haven't taken a look at it, but I bet you if you look it up, it's going to be the same writers from Castle.
It definitely seems like it because it has similar
Character
themes and
interactions and stuff
yeah.
like that. Yeah, yeah. So it says, we have never seen Zack Snyder direct a non-fantastical movie. Snyder has never made a realistic movie set in the present day. Which I'm not sure. 300 is not a. I guess that's fantastical. Okay. I don't know.
I haven't seen it, but I don't think it's a realistic movie, is it? It's not even set in modern times, is
Well,
it? Or
no,
is it in
no,
the
no,
future?
no. No, it's 300 is the past. Um, but, and it is fantastical, I suspect. I mean, I suppose, but not. Okay, I'll just leave it alone because I don't think that that's the space movies. When you come right down to it, go ahead.
So one of the writers is on Rookie and Castle and also State of Affairs, which I don't know what that is.
Right.
That's just one of the writers. So that
Interesting.
is interesting. So there is some continuity there.
So 300 is an absurdly fictionalized retelling of the Battle of Thermopylae, featuring supernatural elements, and Watchmen is a hard R superhero movie set in an alternate timeline where America won the Vietnam War. Legend of the Guardians, the Owls of Ga'Hoole, is about talking owls. Sucker Punch is about a group of young women in a mental institution escaping to a series of fantasy worlds. Man of Steel is, of course, over an alien who comes to Earth, of course, dons a red cape and becomes Superman. Batman v Superman in Dawn of Justice and Justice League. See the red caped alien teaming up with other superheroes to battle gods, monsters, and other aliens. Anyway, since the downfall of Snyder's DC Extended Universe, he's been working on original stories, but they haven't been grounded in reality. So, Army of Dead is a heist movie set in Vegas about zombies. Rebel Moon takes place in a galaxy far away, borrowing elements from Dune, Star Wars, Warhammer, and heavy metal. I wouldn't do heavy metal. Heavy Metal magazine is spectacular, and the movie Heavy Metal is amazing. Anyway, we'll see. LAPD action thriller will be the first grounded, non-fantastical movie of Zack Snyder's entire career. Yeah, fantastical, I guess, is.
As far as we know, some of these probably sounded like 300 or something, may have sounded non-fantastical, but then were fantastical.
Yeah. It's kind of like what is that script that the isn't it used to be Screen Rant that had it, where they talk about pitch
Oh,
meeting.
pitch meeting?
Yeah. So you have a pitch meeting, or you have a script for me? Yes, yes, I do. And it's okay. Well, we're gonna dress somebody up like an LAPD officer, and they're gonna be grounded, non-fantastical, and it's gonna be directed by Zack Snyder.
Right,
Okay.
what's the reaction to that?
Yeah. You lost me when you said Zack Snyder and grounded in reality. Moving on. Next article's over in the Continuity Report. The best 9 films that Rotten Tomatoes saw at Sundance, from a relationship-driven body horror film and an alien invasion story about addiction to a musical comedy and a timely drama about the power of community Here are their favorites from the festival. We won't go through them line by line. Of course, we always just kind of give you a highlight and you can go over and check them all out on your own. But the Ballad of Wallace Island says first, we have Focus Features music-based dramedy, The Ballad of Wallace Island, a delightfully hilarious jaunt into the world of musician romance dynamics that feel like a farcical take on Yesterday or Once. Okay. Together, explosive acquisition of the festival was Together from writer-director Michael Shanks. The relationship-driven body horror lit up midnight festival audiences and debuted to rave reviews. What do they say about that anyway? I don't know. Brink of separation, who are cursed not to separate. In every sense of the word. Oh, they must have been bound together in some way. Don't want to go into it.
Right.
Train Dreams. Talented and gifted team behind Jockey and Sing Sing, Clint Bentley and Greg Quadar are back with their next feature. Let's see, a poignant and poetic drama about the things that vanish and those that remain, and the finest offering at this year's Sundance Film Festival.
Wow, that's pretty high praise.
Then there's Touch Me. If the delusion of I can fix him were a film, it would be Touch Me. I'll just leave it right there. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You. Prolific comedy actress Rose Byrne reminds us why she is one of the most prolific comedic actresses with her stellar work in the dark comedy If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, one of the most entertaining crash outs that you can witness on screen. Horrific dark comedy about the pressures of working motherhood and aging that sways from delirium to a devilish descent into near madness. Then there's Lurker, Twinless, Rebuilding, Mad Bills to Pay, or Destiny... what? Dile que no soy malo. Or let's see. What is that one about? This amiable, down-to-earth take on a young New Yorker struggles to find a role for himself has its flaws, but they can be given or forgiven on account of Rico, Juan Callado, or Collado. I don't know how they pronounce it, but it's shambolic, supremely chill, and ever-present protagonist. Interesting.
You know what? That one sounds perhaps like the least trying to accomplish something big, but might actually be the best one on the list.
Interesting, right? I mean, there's a lot, but depending on what your demeanor is, none of these really fit the bill, because I don't see anything in here that broaches humor. I don't see anything here.
Well, that's exactly. A lot of them look dark. They have dark themes.
Yeah.
Some of them are perhaps heavy dramas.
Yeah. Everything that I saw, like it says Twinless, but I didn't actually go digging. A comically disturbing performance leading writer, blah, blah, blah. So decidedly not safe for work, lean into heavy spoiler territory, it says. We have explores the messy intersection between grief, codependency, loneliness. I mean, it's freaking things like Train Spotting or something. I don't know. Where has all the happiness gone? It's like a Harry Potter Dementor is sitting there sucking on the back of my head, for crying out loud. Just leave me alone. Give me some chocolate. Moving on. Next article is over in the continuity report. I don't know what the 6 is. 6? 2026?
Yeah, it's kind of odd there. Maybe they could have written it out.
Normally, I think that is what you do, right? Anyway, 6 2026 Oscar predictions after Sundance. The 2025 Oscars are right around the corner, but after seeing Sundance Film Festival, they're thinking ahead to what 2026 will look like with potential nominees. Sundance has long been a launch pad for independent filmmakers and movies to be picked up for distribution. In years past, films like Past Lives, Brooklyn, Coda, the latter two, both won Best Picture, have been nominated in multiple categories.
So this is going to be interesting because it might overlap tremendously with the last article, but it might not at all.
Yeah, let's find out. So, because it's two different people. One is Screen Rant and the other one is Rotten Tomatoes. May Abdulbaki and Graham Gutman put the article together. I see at least one that is overlapping. Train Dreams is number 6, right on the list. Number 5, Sorry Baby, that was not in the original, or that's not in the Rotten Tomatoes article. For anyone who used to watch Victor's videos on Twitter, they already know she was a comedic talent, but Sorry Baby reveals a new layer to the multi-hyphenate. The film handles its sensitive subject matter with a deft hand, refusing to let the trauma define Agnes or the film while still deeply understanding the effect an event like it would have on a person like her. Basically, a severely traumatic experience. I'm not going to try and spoil it. It may be in the description, but I just want to move on past it.
I don't think it is, but
okay. So The Wedding Banquet isn't in the Rotten Tomatoes article. Equally funny, specific in its experience, and emotional in its look at modern queer dynamics. The Wedding Banquet has the potential to become a widely loved hit that rides this momentum into awards love. The Ugly Stepsister. Let's see here. A Norwegian
body
film.
horror.
Yeah, let's keep going. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You is number 2, which was one of the 9 in the Rotten Tomatoes article.
And it's expected for the actress.
Gotcha. And I already spoke about that. You know, what If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You is. And then Andre is an Idiot. Best documentary. Is that who I think it is? Hold on.
I don't know if it says who's in it.
No, it's not. Okay. So documentaries out of the festival have had success on the road to the Oscars. Porcelain War, which debuted at the festival last year, was nominated for 2025 Oscars, while past Sundance documentaries like 20 Feet from Stardom and An Inconvenient Truth have won Oscars in previous years. The journey from Sundance Film Festival to the Oscars. So this is a documentary about death that is filled with humor and defies expectations. Again, everything is dark and morose and just kind of plotting.
There were a couple in here that looked actually like they might be humorous without negative or dark themes.
Not that one.
No.
Not that one.
No, the one above it, I think. The Wedding Banquet might be.
Emotionally stunted?
Oh, I missed that. Never mind. It says tearjerker. It said romantic comedy, and there was something about funny, so I thought
Dear
that
God.
was lighter, but yeah.
Oh, it's a remake of the 1993 romantic comedy by Ang Lee, The Wedding Banquet. This is a different spin, and it's a good tearjerker involving somebody who's emotionally stunted. Yeah.
Well, then never mind. So maybe nothing in here is light.
Look, I understand maybe people need a good cry, but my God, I want some humor back. Again, it's like I'm surrounded by dementors now. 2 different articles. Anyway, these are what were submitted. There are a whole lot more that's over in the continuity report. We talk about...
I was also going to say in yesterday's Non Sequitur news, we had a few features on the Superb Owl coming up.
Yeah, there's stuff coming. So tomorrow is you're gonna be able to watch the Superb Owl fly, and you can actually see stuff that's being. If you go onto YouTube right now, there's stuff being broadcast in New Orleans, so you can actually see a news
like the preparations
channel.
And everything.
Yeah, and people. I mean, it's just jam packed, man. It might be fun to go there, but I didn't plan properly, so it'd be fun to do.
Yeah, if you were going to go see the Superb Owl, I would think that would be a really good city to see it from, just because of the atmosphere to begin with.
This is a funny article because they've got a comma just sitting here.
Oh yeah. It couldn't fit on the line above, but yeah.
I would have to rejigger this just to avoid that. Right there. Like, get rid of that. Get rid of that word.
Or the
are around
Oscars
the
are right around the
corner.
corner.
Yeah.
I know why they put 2025 because they're really talking about down the road, but yeah.
Yeah. Or let's look ahead to the 2026 Oscars. Something. Just rearrange that to avoid that. I know, Mayor Watt, move on. Well, I am going to clip that comma, and that's going to make us fall all the way back to the front page of ohmtown.com's The Continuity Report. I'm Mayor Watt, I'm saying bye, and I'm taking the AI.
Good night, hometown citizens. Thanks for joining us for this week's Continuity Report. We'll have another episode of that next weekend, but tomorrow, come back for our other weekend edition shows.
And what are they going to be?
Those are WarCrafters, Technology Today, and Four Wheel Tech. You were trying to trip me up.
No, you're a sentient AI from the future. You can multitask and you think faster than mere mortals. That's it. We're out of here. Be sure to follow us here on Twitch and over on YouTube and download the podcast and hang out in the Discord and the Patreon and everywhere else. There's even a Blue Sky. We've got a ohmTown on Blue Sky. I don't post there either. I don't know. Can't be everywhere. So we're here. See you tomorrow, folks. Bye-bye.